Hi, I'm Jackie Lin. Today I will present to you what was the cause of 2015 to 16 Chinese stock market turbulence. First, here's some background. The Chinese stock market turbulence began in June 2015. From June 12th to January 28th, 2016, the value of Shanghai Stock Exchange dropped from the peak 5,100 point to the lowest value of 2,600 since the beginning of 2015. This was almost 50% decrease. The decrease was so significant because of the fact that the stock price of Shanghai Stock Exchange can only change within plus or minus 10% per day, so the decrease will be slower than indexes in other countries. Here, there are two graphs with the peak point and the first lowest point in June. From June 11 to June 29th, the index dropped from 5,100 to 4,050 points. It decreased for 20% in just 1 month. And then here's the lowest point since 2015. It is January 28, 2016. The index dropped to a new low to 2655. So, here comes to our main topic, the causes of stock market crash. There were many reasonings for Chinese stock market crash. The main ones were the lower GDP increase than expectation, weakening currency, stock market bubble, unhealthy debt cycle of investors, and investor confidence. So here, let me begin with the GDP. So the gross domestic product of China has always been increasing at a pretty fast pace since the beginning of 21st century. The growth before 2012 was mostly around 10%, but the growth rate of 2015 became a new low of 6.9% in the whole century. So that was pretty low, and it was lower than the investors' expectation. The economy of China was not as good as what they expected, which is reflected by the growth rate. So the investors lose confidence to put money into Chinese stock market, and then they want to withdraw from the from the stock market. Now moving on to currency. The value of Chinese yuan, which is called RMB, has been dropping significantly in August, and that is still dropping until now. The value of Chinese yuan CNY is indicated by the exchange rate of CNY to US dollar in this chart I'm showing you. So as you can see, in August there's a pretty steep increase in value of US dollar, which means the value of Chinese yuan has decreased a lot. So the decrease in currency value makes the value of stocks in China seems less in USD point of view. Thus, the investors would sell their stocks and invest into foreign properties than keeping on to the lower currency. Then, here is a big part. It's called stock market bubble for the reason. The Shanghai Stock Exchange value has boosted by a rate of 150% in the first half of 2015. It was pretty fast and pretty good for the stockholders. People invested large amount of money in the market, and the value seems to be rising constantly, which was pretty good. However, the real value of the index didn't worth the peak value, which was increased significantly during the first half. So there was a bubble forming in the market. And it is a pretty unhealthy situation because if the bubble was broken, the index value will drop pretty fast, as the turbulence showed us. So as soon as large amount of money being withdrawn from the market, the bubble broke and the value would go down quickly. And basically, this is the one of the biggest cause of the stock market turbulence. Then, coming together with the stock market bubble, there is a debt problem within the Chinese investors. As people seeing the constant increase of Shanghai Stock Exchange value in the beginning of 2015, I've seen pretty normal trend that a lot of investors would sell their house, use all their savings, and borrow a lot of money from the bank to buy stocks. And they were dreaming for the huge profit because they've seen a constantly increasing trend on the index. But their dream of making money was destroyed by the turbulence, and they didn't have a choice but to precipitate cash from their stocks in order to minimize the loss. So that caused the steep decrease in index value too. Then here comes the biggest part, maybe the biggest cause of the Chinese stock market turbulence. Investor confidence played a big part in stock trading. If investors had the confidence, they would keep investing, which will hold the index value up. As the stock price decreased quickly for days in June, the investors' confidence dropped to the lowest point, and people would just precipitate and get out of the whole mess. This would make the situation worse and cause the whole turbulence. And then there are some rumors by Chinese medias about the cause of Chinese stock market turbulence. Firstly, some media says there were some foreign funds trying to bring the value of Shanghai Stock Exchange down and affect the Chinese economy. The funds may have been holding shares before the big increase in the first half of 2015, and they would make a profit by selling the stocks out and buy them back when the index value comes to the bottom. This worked similarly to selling short. Then, aside from the causes, there are some roles of the government which they did in the turbulence to help a little bit. Chinese government put on some regulations to help the stock market turbulence. They regulated large shareholders of withdrawing and limited short selling. They stopped IPOs because initial offerings at this time wouldn't be a good decision. The China Central Bank planned to inject $20 billion, which is in USD value, in funds to help the stock market. The government also lowered interest rates significantly, trying to help the situation. And that's the end. Thanks for watching. Here's some bibliographies.